Hey viewers, I'm working on my Raleigh Team USA bike here. You may have seen this in my previous video. And I took this out for a test ride and I was getting some sort of sound from the bottom end, kind of like a little bit of a clicking. And I thought it might be the bottom bracket. And so I tried wiggling the cranks. I'm not getting any movement on the cranks, but I noticed that the lock ring was loose. So I'm still kind of suspecting it might be in there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to find in there, but the bike is almost 30 years old, so it can't hurt to overhaul it anyway. So I'm going to take this apart, clean it, lube it, and if there's cage bearings in there, I'm going to go ahead and replace those with loose bearings. Ultimately, this is kind of temporary anyway, because I plan on replacing the bottom bracket with either a sealed cartridge bottom bracket, or in a future upgrade, I plan on replacing the cranks anyway. So I may go ahead and go to a completely new style of bottom bracket if I can. I'm not sure what all would fit in here anyway. So anyway, I'm going to overhaul this and we'll see what we find in here. Remove the little dust cover there, and then there's a 14mm nut in here. So I'm going to remove this. Then I've got my Park Tool crank remover here. So I thread this in carefully, making sure not to cross thread it. There we go. Put that in as far as it'll go easily, then turn this part in. Hold this part. And then tighten this down, and then this will press into the bolt and pull the crank arm on there, which is just kind of pressed onto the square spindle, the square tapered spindle in there. And I slide that right off of there like that. This side appears to be missing the little dust cover. That's fine. I can replace that pretty easily. And remove the nut here. There, got it loosened. And take that out there. Get my crank puller here, thread this in as far as it'll go, tighten this part in, hold this on here like this, tighten this, and that came off nice and easy like that. Okay, now we get into the fun part here, and so I'm just going to go ahead and remove the lock ring here. Like I said, it was already loose. Normally I would use a tool like this, but it was loose, so I can go ahead and just turn that off by hand. And now I need to remove the adjustable cup here, so we'll see what kind of shape it's in here. And so it was tight in there, but not too tight. And there. So at this point, I can just pull this whole thing out of here like this and pull these other bearings out like that. A little dirty in there. And now this is one of my favorite parts here, is removing the fixed cup, because this can often be a challenge. That's why they call it a fixed cup. Well, it's fixed, so it's not adjustable like the other side, but it can be on there very, very, very hard. And on most bikes, these are going to be left-hand threaded, as opposed to right-hand threaded, which is normal. You turn it counterclockwise to remove it. This you have to turn clockwise to remove it. That's going to be on most bikes. On some bikes, older bikes, some foreign bikes, these will remove counterclockwise, but on most bikes, they remove clockwise. So I got a tool here. It's a Park Tool HCW4 that's designed to fit this, and we'll see if I can get this to break loose as is. Hold this on like this. And I got it to break loose. Nice. Most times, it's not that easy, and I'll have to resort to some other tricks to get it off. Wish they made a ratchet wrench version of this tool. That'd be nice. And I got that out. Now while I'm here, I'm going to clean out this bottom bracket shell with a rag and some solvent. I'm using some mineral spirits here, but you can use whatever your favorite solvent is. Citrus degreaser if you want. And this is also a good time to go ahead and clean all around on the frame in here behind there because you got good access. But clean out all the old grease, all the old dirt. And I can even take a little bit of a wire brush in here to kind of clean up the threads, get any dirt and stuff out of the threads in there. Well, I got all the parts here from inside the bottom bracket, and I'm going to clean them up. I've got like a jar here of mineral spirits, and I'm going to dump these parts in here and get them all cleaned up. Like this. And I'm not going to stick the bearings in there right now because I'm going to be replacing all these bearings. I do want to verify what size of bearings these are. So what I want to do is just pull one of the bearings out. I don't mind bending these a little bit because I'm going to be replacing them anyway. There's one of the bearings. And I've got a bearing gauge here. So I tried dropping it through. It's not 7/32, so that means it's 1/4 inch bearings, which is the most common for bottom brackets anyway. And I should need, since I'm going to be replacing the cages with loose bearings, right now there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bearings in there, and I should be able to replace them with 11 loose bearings. Okay, I've got all the parts cleaned up here pretty well, and so now I'm going to get ready to reinstall the bearings. I'm going to do that in here. It's just going to be easier like this. So I've got my grease gun, I've got marine grease, so I'm going to fill the race with marine grease there, and I'll go ahead and do this side as well. Like that. And then I've got a bunch of 1/4 inch loose bearings here. And so just picking up the bearings one by one, I'm going to set them into the race, into the grease, and the grease will hold them. And there should be 11 bearings on each side. And there's 11 bearings right there. And then I'll do 11 bearings on this side. And so there, I have all the bearings ready to go. Now the advantages of having loose bearings as opposed to cage bearings is you actually have more bearings in there, and so they're going to have more bearing surface between the cones and the races there, and so they're going to wear less, and also loose bearings like this are going to move freer than they are in the cages. Anyway, let's go ahead and start putting this thing back together. Okay, I'm ready to start putting this thing back together. So one of the first things I'm going to do is just take a little bit of grease and I'm going to get it in on the threads in there a little bit. And inside the shell here, help kind of minimize any corrosion in there. Having a nice grease coating in there. And grease on the threads will help prevent moisture from coming in that direction. Like that. Okay, I'm going to install the fix cup here. The bearings are in there and the grease should hold that in place. And so I'm going to start this by hand, and you want to make sure that you do not cross thread this. It should start in pretty smoothly. There we go. And so now that all the threads are cleaned and greased, it should turn in pretty smoothly here. There's that. Then I've got my tool here, and then I'm going to tighten this. And I'll try to get this as tight as I can here. There. So that's on there pretty tight. Okay, now I'm back over on the non-drive side. You want to insert this little plastic dust seal that goes in here and put that in there. And what that does is if dirt comes down through the seat tube or anything like that, it helps protect all the stuff in here from the dirt from getting into the bearings. The next thing is we want to put the spindle in. Now the spindle is one side is a little bit longer than the other. You want to pay attention when you pull the spindle out. I forgot to mention that. Which side is the drive side and which side is the non-drive side. When I pulled it out, I know that the drive side had this little scratch on it. Usually the drive side will be slightly longer than the non-drive side. So in this case here, the drive side here is very slightly longer than the non-drive side. But you want to pay attention when you pull this out as to which side is which. If worst comes to worst and you get messed up, you can try the longest side first, see how that works. If it doesn't quite work, go ahead and take it apart and reverse it. Okay, I want to grease this up a little bit in the middle here. Just put a thin coating of grease. This will help keep it from getting corroded and stuff in here. And also I can put a little bit of grease around the bearing races here. Not that there's not a ton of grease already on the bearings themselves, so they'll be okay. You don't want to put grease over on the tapered parts here. If you get a little bit on, which we probably will putting this together, you want to wipe that off. You don't want to have grease on here when we're putting the cranks on there. So just go ahead and insert this in here carefully so that you don't knock any of the bearings out, like that. Okay, now you want to go ahead and screw in the adjustable cup here, and that goes over here like this, and this is going to turn in clockwise. And you want to make sure that it's not cross-threaded. It should screw in fairly easily. There we go, like that. And screw this in till it hits the bearings. And that feels like it hits the bearings there, where you shouldn't be able to wiggle this back and forth at all. So, and now you want to adjust this to where this will turn smoothly, but that there's no play in there. And that feels pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the lock ring on here. And that again screws on clockwise. Like this. And now what you want to do is tighten the lock ring without the adjustable cup moving. And this is gets a little tricky sometimes. So you want to kind of hold the adjustable cup here and then get the lock ring and tighten that. And then test it. Make sure that it turns smoothly without any play. And there's just a touch of play in there. But if I go ahead and turn this a little bit, it might turn this center part just a little bit. Just like that, turned it just a little bit. Test it. And now there's no play in there and it's turning pretty smoothly like that. And see if I can get it tightened any more here. Like this. And hold this. Yep. Yeah. Like that. And it's turning nice and smoothly and no play. Okay, now we're ready to put the cranks on. Okay, now one trick when installing a crank on here, you have the chainring stuff, is since it's a square taper, there's 4 sides, and not all 4 sides are going to be literally exactly the same. So you can try the crank on here, the chainring, turn it around and look for chainring wobble, and to see if, as you turn it, if the chainring goes in and out. And you can kind of look against the front derailleur to see if it kind of is going in and out or not. And it's going out and in now a little bit. So what you could do is then turn this 90 degrees and try it in all 4 directions and find which side moves the least. And that goes in and out a little bit. And this actually looks the best of the 4 positions right here. So I'll take the nut and get it started on there. And tighten this like that, and I'll go ahead and put the chain on there like that. Put the dust cap on here. Like that. This crank obviously goes on 180 degrees from the other side. So put it on there facing up. Take the nut, start it on like this, and then tighten it on here like this. I usually just tighten it on pretty stiffly as opposed to using a torque wrench. And I didn't have a cover for that. I'll just have to get a cover for this side. And there you go. And that is how to replace caged bearings with loose bearings in a bottom bracket when you overhaul it. And it's turning nice and smoothly. I'll have to take it out for a test ride and see how it feels out there. If you like this video, you found it useful and interesting, please click the like button. I always appreciate getting likes on my videos, and it helps me out. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Click the big yellow subscribe button and you'll see new videos as they come out. And I always have new videos coming out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.